Miss Flora wants to expand her flower store. She does not have enough money for this, so she needs to borrow short-term loans from her friends or the bank to raise enough capital. She's concerned about her store's ability to meet up with short-term loans and pay debt as they fall due. What can Miss Flora do? She should assess the store using the liquidity ratios. The liquidity ratios are ratios which measure the extent to which a business can meet up with short-term obligations or pay its debt as they fall due. This lesson will focus on two formulas we can use to assess Miss Flora's store, which are the current ratio and the acid test ratio. Before we discuss these two ratios, we need to understand the items that constitute them, which are the current assets and the current liabilities. Current assets are assets that the business can convert to cash within a period of 1 year. Examples include cash, debtors, and stock. Debtors are people who are owing money to a business, and stock is what the business sells. Recall that liabilities are what a business owes to outsiders. Current liabilities are obligations that the business is expected to settle within a year. Examples include amounts owed to suppliers or trade creditors, bank overdraft, and accrued expenses. Accrued expenses are expenses that the business is yet to settle but is expected to pay within a year. Examples are bills, staff wages, and so on. Let's now take a look at an extract of the balance sheet of Miss Flora's store as at the 31st of December 2020. On this date, she had a total current asset of 14,000 naira and a total current liabilities of 7,000 naira. The current ratio is a liquidity ratio that compares the total current assets with the total current liabilities. It can be calculated by dividing the current assets by the current liabilities. For Miss Flora's store, her current ratio would be 14,000 naira divided by 7,000 naira. This equals a ratio of 2 to 1. This simply means that she can settle her current liabilities twice over. That is, if she converts all her current assets to cash, she can pay off her short-term debt 2 times over. The ideal current ratio depends on the nature of the business. However, it is better if the ratio exceeds 1, as it shows that the business is able to settle its current liabilities as they fall due. A current ratio of 2 to 1 is generally preferred, so Miss Flora's store is liquid enough. Of all the current asset items, stock is the most difficult to convert to cash because Miss Flora may be unable to control how soon her flowers are sold. The acid test ratio, also referred to as the quick ratio, measures the liquidity of a business by removing the stock from the current assets before dividing the result by the current liabilities. If the current assets remaining is still higher than the current liabilities, then Miss Flora's store is highly liquid. But if the current liabilities are more than the current assets remaining, Miss Flora's store may not be able to pay short-term obligations if her creditors request urgent settlement of her debts. Miss Flora's quick ratio is therefore calculated as current assets of 14,000 naira minus stock of 7,000 naira divided by current liabilities of 7,000 naira. This gives a quick ratio of 1:1. This means that, aside from the stock Miss Flora has, she can use her cash and other current assets to settle her current liabilities in the event that her creditors come to demand their payments immediately. We have now been able to assess the liquidity of Miss Flora's business by calculating the current ratio for her business as well as the acid test ratio. As we've determined that both of these numbers are good, she should be able to request short-term loans from a bank or friends. In future lessons, we will consider other ratios that involve the current assets and current liabilities.